Hey guys, so we are going to finish Chapter 6, Lesson 3 today. So these problems can be found in the homework number 2, number 12, which is extra practice, so that's optional, and number 17, which is Think Smart, which is also optional. So this is actually example A on the bottom of page 476. Page 476. So if you're following along at home and you want to give this a try with me, I would highly encourage you to do that. Okay, so it says that rectangle ABCD with the following vertices represents the bed in Jackson's room. Okay, so we want to graph the figure and its image after a clockwise rotation of 90 degrees. Here's what's different. Is they're not having you rotate it about the origin, they're having you rotate it about vertex C. So let me highlight that. I'll put it in orange. Vertex C. Okay, so we're not going to rotate it around the origin like we were doing before. This time we're going to rotate it about vertex C. So if you had a protractor, this would be pretty easy to do, but we don't. So here's kind of a trick. I went ahead and I plotted out the 4 original vertices, and let's see, I can go ahead and connect them and draw my rectangle. Okay, so here's my suggestion to you. Anytime they're asking you to rotate an image around a point that is not the origin, make it the origin. So in other words, I'm going to kind of recreate this graph where this is now at 0, 0. So let me go ahead and I'm going to draw some new X and Y axis lines. Let's see, I'll put this in red. I'll put X in red. And I'll put Y in blue. Okay, so here is my new, let's see, I'm going to put some arrows on the end. Here we go. Okay, so here's my new X-axis, and my new Y-axis is going to go vertically through C. The X-axis is going to go horizontally through C. So you're going to have to kind of ignore the original axis that's here, and I'm going to treat this point here as my new origin. So what that means is that these are no longer accurate. These have all shifted because our origin has shifted. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to list out my new vertices here using this as the origin. So A is now located at negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And positive 1, 2, 3. Okay, B is located at negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's negative. I'll do that again. And the Y, the change in Y is there is no change in Y. It's right on our new axis, so we're going to call that 0. Negative 5, 0. Okay, C, we know, is the origin. We just made it our new origin. So I'm going to call it 0, 0. And D is going to be located at, well, horizontally there is no change, so we're going to call that 0. And vertically we're going up 1, 2, 3. Okay? So now we need to figure out the rule for a 90-degree clockwise rotation. So we kind of went over how to figure out these rules on your own in the previous video. So if you haven't watched the previous video, I highly recommend that you do that. If you take a look at the top of page 477, it has the 3 main rules for rotations. So it tells you that a 90-degree clockwise rotation, 90-degree CW is for clockwise, okay, is that XY becomes, you flip it, right? It's yx, and you're going to go ahead and take the opposite of the second value. So xy becomes y negative x. Or, as I like to say, opposite x. Because if x is already opposite, it becomes positive. I'm sorry, if x is already negative, it becomes positive. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to list out my new vertices here. So I'm going to call this A prime. So I'm going to go ahead and switch. First thing I do is I just switch the place of each of these two values. So negative 5 comma 3 becomes 3 comma negative 5. But guess what? I got to take the opposite of the second value. So it's not 3 comma negative 5. It's actually 3 comma 5. Okay, B prime. Negative 5 comma 0 is going to become 0 comma negative 5. But again, I'm taking the opposite of negative 5, so it's actually positive. Okay, C. Is at the origin. Well, nothing happens. If you switch 0 and 0, you still get 0 and 0. And 0 doesn't have a sign, so you still end up with C being at the origin. Okay, D prime. Gonna go ahead and switch 0 comma 3. So now it's going to be 3 comma 0. Again, there is no opposite value of 0, right? So it just, you don't need to put a positive or a negative or any sign. There's never a sign in front of 0. So 0 comma 3 just becomes 3 comma 0. Okay, let's go ahead and plot these out and see what happens. Okay, so A prime is now located at, and remember, you're using, this is your origin. This is not your origin. Okay, so let's see here. A prime is now going to be located at 3 comma 5. So 1, 2, 3, up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A prime. B prime is going to be located at 0 comma 5. So horizontally there's no change, but vertically we're going to go up to 5 on the y-axis. B prime. C is still the origin. There you go. And then D prime is going to be located at 3 comma 0. So we're going to go to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Vertically there is no change. So it's right there on our new axis. So D prime. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw my new shape. I'll put it in, how about pink? All right, here we go. So you're going to see that the bed was rotated 90 degrees in the clockwise direction around point C. Okay, so as I mentioned, go ahead and apply this idea to number 2 in the homework, and if you want to also do 12 and 17, that's fine. Moral of the story here is anytime you're asked to rotate an image around a point that's not the origin, make that point the origin by go ahead and redrawing your X and Y axis. Okay, that's going to alter what these points are. So you're going to use these points in the beginning to go ahead and plot the original shape. That's the only time you're using these. As soon as you draw your new X and Y axis, these points all shift. So that's where you're going to have to go ahead and figure out what your original vertices were based off of this new origin. And then you're just going to take your rule. In this case, a 90-degree clockwise rotation tells you that X, Y becomes Y opposite X. And you can find these rules, again, at the top of page 477. Okay, I will post another video for Chapter 6, Lesson 4, and then that'll be it for Chapter 6, and then we'll start Chapter 7, hopefully by next week. All right, hope you guys are doing well. Bye-bye.